Hello everyone, it is me, Rory Paddock, for pictureonthepaddock.co.uk, being broadcast to you live on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube with what is our Cheltenham Festival 2021 preview. Not just myself, but 5 other pundits from pictureonthepaddock.co.uk. So without further ado, let's introduce them. We have here the rest of the guys here on the team. The 6 of us. Hello, evening chaps. How's everyone?
All good. All good.
Yeah. How are we doing?
Fantastic. Obviously, there's just 2 more sleeps to go until what is known as the greatest show on turf. 4 days of racing from Cheltenham, the home of jumps racing, the pinnacle, what seems to be like an annual build-up every year, 12 months for these 4 days. Kick things off, chaps. Obviously, we're going to be looking at the horses that are, that are there, but obviously the noticeable absences with everything that's gone on. One of mine has been withdrawn, unfortunately. Time Hill is out of the Stayers Hurdle. There's a few sort of absentees. I mean, is there anyone else who are open to the floor? Any horse that you were not particularly looking forward to, or anti-post wise that you were like absolutely desperate to see line up, or you've done your wallet anti-post somewhere, Luke?
Obviously Energamine in the article, obviously that's a big blow. One horse which was ruled out quite a while ago, it's a real shame, and adds a bit of a dimension to the Gold Cup. Top of the game, I think would have been really interesting, that sort of race. It's a shame. Hopefully we'll see him again, but he just seems a bit fragile, but he definitely made that Gold Cup. Well, it certainly added another dimension. That's the 2 main real big ones. Obviously Time Hill was a big blow. It's a shame because you want them all the match. That's what you wait for all year, to the match. Yeah. And it's just one of those things, isn't it? Unfortunately, injuries happen, and it's not until it can all go wrong on the last day, on the final day or the first day.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of those, well, isn't it? Like, I mean, you can plan till you're blue in the face, and it'll just be one thing that's a niggle or anything that'll just end up throwing things out of the way. I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I've not really played much on the anti-post market, but it seems, I mean, as an example, this season's just been a weird one anyway. External factors outside of sort of the racing world as well, making things a little bit weird. I mean, as an example, the Supreme, I think there's only, I mean, compared to a normal Supreme sort of lineup, it's really, really small field. I mean, is there anything that you guys are particularly looking forward to that you now, unfortunately, have to sort of like give the boot away to, Charlie?
I think the matchup in the Arkle was something that was going to be probably the race of the festival. So that's unfortunately gone, and hopefully for all of the anti-post backers, Shishkin can just kind of get the job done there. I was firmly in the Time Hill camp. He was my nap of the festival, so that was absolutely devastating. And I think the whole Gordon Elliott issue and everything going to Sneezy Foster, I think my anti-post, such as wide receiver in the Martin Pipe, One Run Wild Fred and Aramax, all of them being withdrawn is a bit of a shame. And I think if they were still under Gordon Elliott, they'd probably still be running. So that's a bit disappointing, but we move on, and we'll still have a great festival.
Yeah, exactly. So without further ado, chaps, obviously we'll move on to what is day 1. It's Tuesday. Kicking things off, it is the Champion Hurdle, the trophies race of the day. Bookies seem to make it sort of three horses that are vying for favouritism at the moment. Like some Ghost and Appetant, Honeysuckle are the 3 that, in terms of the market, that the only 3 viable options to win. Do you think it's pretty unfair to the rest of the field, Carl, for us to only focus on those 3, or do you think the bookies pretty much have it spot on and as it should be?
Honestly, I think the bookies have got it spot on, but I think everybody was in that camp back in 2019 where you had the big 3 there, which all came absolutely nowhere. There is some other great options in that race, but I'm firmly in the Goshen camp, I'm afraid. I had him 25-1 anti-post, so I'm going to sit tight on that and hope for the best.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's to be honest with you, this year to me is interesting. This year's renewal because it's relatively wide open in terms of them being those 3. But I can't see the first 3 in the market finishing first, second, and third. And as a punter, I've kind of hoped, if I'm going to throw my hat into the ring first, I've kind of hoped that if one of those three falters, and I imagine they will, at least one of them will, that something could potentially go well at a decent price. No, the horse I'm sort of throwing my name out there is Silver Streak, placed in this 2 years back. Could grab some prize money, if one of the main protagonists don't deliver. In terms of who I think is probably the most likely of the main three to falter, you're going to hate me for saying this, Carl, but I think Goshen looks potentially a bit fragile. Yes, it was absolutely amazing the way it won last time out, but Honeysuckle gets a weight allowance, as does Epitant, and I just think that Silver Streak, those two have been there and done it before at the festival. Silver Streak's run well at the festival before. Goshen, yes, should have won, but didn't. Yeah, for me, Silver Streak at a decent price each way, especially if you see a bookie that offers potentially very generous first 4 places. Harry, what did you want to go in the big one on day one?
I've always been sweet on Charger for this. Not bothered at all about the run last time. Exactly the same happened in the same race last year. He was a bit of a no-show after winning well the time before. When you look back at last year's champion hurdle, he was actually going better than Epiton at the last. He's hit the top of the last and sort of lost his. He's not completely lost his stride, but he lost a bit of momentum, and ultimately giving £7 to Epiton after the last has proved costly. So this year, Townend on board instead of Pat Mullins. Paul is 2 from 4 on Charger. So I look, the market's correct, but considering how well he was going when they came to the last year, exactly the same prep this year, I think Charger's a slightly bit overpriced.
Yeah, I mean, it's perhaps a bit of a forgotten loss. It is a Group 1 winner, isn't it, Charger? I think where's those silks that are infamous with the festival then?
Albeit only a 4-runner race, but he has beaten Forheen the Machine as well.
Oh, that's true. Luke,
in his time.
In the big one, I just fancy Epiton. I think Goshen is vulnerable. I like Goshen. I like him a lot. I just think that win counter race, it was heavy. It was I think he needs it really soft. Like I mean, the ground's a little bit. Was it good to soft at the moment? I mean, it is generally softer on the first day, isn't it? And it gets. I think if you look at the weather, it looks like it's dry most of the week, so it'll get faster and faster as the week goes on. Epiton, I just think that was too bad a race at Christmas against Silver Streak. I mean, fair play to Silver Streak, did the job, but I just think Nikki Anderson will get it right. I just think on the day, I just think he's been there, done it, got the t-shirt. She's been there and done it, got the t-shirt. Obviously she, and then obviously she's got the handy allowance with Honeysuckle as well. So, and that's another debate for another day. Both those hoes up. One at a big price. You talk about a big price. I mean, I've seen one. I can't name the bookie, obviously, but one bookie's paying 5 places for the champion hurdle. It's only a 10-runner race. 66-1. It's not that he'll bomb along at the front. Not so sleepy. It might sound daft. He didn't have the runner race last year. It was a spot start. He doesn't like that. He has to go at the start. At 61, if like you said, I don't necessarily the 1, 2, 3 favourites will finish 1, 2, 3. And if it falls apart and he's at the front, then can he hang on for a place? Possibly.
First 5 to 10. Jeez Louise, I'll say that. I'll buy anyone's on if you give me 5 places.
I think the one certain. Well, nothing's ever a certainty, but I think the one out the front 3 that you can stick your hat on to finish in the front 3 is Honeysuckle. I think Goshen and Epiton both come with question marks. Honeysuckle doesn't. For me, if one of them definitely places, it's Honeysuckle. The other 2 could easily bomb out for me.
So, seeing as though we've all ended up picking 5 horses so far in a 10-runner race, Charlie, no doubt you'll go with something completely different.
I'm firmly in the honeysuckle camp for me. That's not because
we all narrowed that down.
Yeah. That's in no way justified because I'm holding 16 and 14 to 1 anti-post for her. I think she's getting
completely irrelevant.
I think she's got the £7 allowance, which I think even if she didn't have the allowance, I think she'd still be right up there in this race. I do think Epatant's a forgotten horse after she was 2 to 1, pretty much clear favourite. Nothing looked like it could touch her. And then she got pipped by Silver Streak and she just kind of fell away. Goshen, for me, after this race, he'll have a P next to his name. He'll either say pissed up or pulled up. I have no idea what he's going to do. I don't think anyone does. So with that, I'm not going to back him with my own money. If I get a free bet or something like that, I'll throw it on Goshen. I think I'd love to see him win that race. I completely agree with Luke with Not So Sleepy. Go from the front, absolutely tank along. And if he stays, then I think it's a great shout for a place. But yeah, Honeysuckle for me takes all the beating.
I mean, just to elaborate as well, not that you'd be slightly biased as well, would that be the same Not So Sleepy Luke that you ended up napping earlier in the year that won a 25-1 for you?
But you never know. In all fairness, when you look at the market, I think Goshen will probably go off favourite. I really do. I think people will pile into that. I think people want redemption and stuff like that. I do think a lot of people will pile. And I think he will probably be favourite on the day. I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah, the sort of the comeback story. You can see the build up, the unlucky last year. Yeah. So, I mean, between us, we've picked out 5 different horses for this 10-runner champion hurdle. I'm hoping away from the big race on Tuesday. I'll start with you again, Carl. Aside from the big race, what's your bet of the day on the first day of the Cheltenham Festival?
For me, I'm going to start in the first race of the festival and go with Metier. There's a lot of talk about at the minute that his form doesn't really add up to much, this, that, and the other. If you look into it, it reads all right. Really nice performance last time out. I think it's a really competitive race, as we know. But Harry Fry's really, really keen on him. And I think Appreciate It gets beat. And I've now got that in my head, and I can't look past that. And I think Metier is the one to do it.
Would you be worried that Metier needs really soft ground?
Yeah, that is a worry. But the forecast is dry, admittedly, and probably only going to get drier, which is a big question mark. But I'm struggling to find anything else that I think that beats it, which is my main issue. I've looked at everything down every single avenue, and I think there's going to be a decent pace on. I think if Four Pleasure gets the way in front again, there's going to be a decent pace on. So I think that'll play into Metier's hands, to be honest.
So I'm going to be boring now, and I'm going to just completely contradict you once again. My bet that day one is Appreciated. Again, making this really easy for people watching. I was going, in all honesty, when I was looking through day one, I was going to go with Royal Beguile in the stayers, the staying novice race, but that now heads to the Gold Cup. Appreciate it. I did originally see when the field hadn't been narrowed down that there was some reasonable opposition, and I was like, wasn't as confident. But as some of that opposition's come out, I'm only left with Willie Mullins' favourite. I know it's boring as fuck, to be honest. Let's be honest. It's like, it's not going to exactly make me a genius. It's not going to make anyone a fortune. Willie Mullins, Cheltenham Festival. Well, it's got their own history, especially in that race as well. Yeah, 6-4 again, priced up relatively well in terms of that's probably the right price. Boring, unoriginal. Appreciate it. For me, wins the spring. That's it. But anyway, Harry.
Mine would be Roxana in the mares. I'm not a fan of Concertista at all. If she wins, and she could be a superstar. But right now, I don't think Concertista is a superstar. Should she be favourite? Yes. Does Roxana bring the best form into the race? Yes.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Just behind Time Hill and Paisley Park this year. she beat Next Destination, or just behind Next Destination, albeit over, Next Destination wants fences, not hurt. That was in the Weatherby over hurdles. And then she came and beat Magic of Light, who was Grand National second.
Yeah.
She's her 3 performances this year have all been career bests, or certainly 2 of the 3 have been career bests. She's in career best form. I'm not worried that it's not over 3 miles. Albeit she was lucky to win the race before. She has won the race before. I think she's overpriced. I don't think it should be this much between her and Concertista in the betting.
No, I mean on paper, Roxana shows by far the best.
Yeah.
Form like that. And one of the things we actually, whilst you brought up Roxana, is we put a poll out on Twitter, and if you don't follow us, it's at Picks Paddock. And it was about Roxana. The question was, obviously Time Hill's been pulled. Do you think they've made the right decision going for the mares race as opposed to going for a crack at the stayers? Because it doesn't look, I know obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing with Time Hill being pulled now, but I think you'd have a decent chance in that race in the stayers. The poll returned, I think it was 53% said that she was doing the right thing going to the mares. 47 said no, should have gone for a crack at the stayers. So pretty even. I mean, do you think they've gone for the right race in this, or do you think she would actually have a chance in the stayers?
She'd have a chance in the stayers. I don't think she'd be in the top 3 though.
No.
I think she can race in the mares, and if she gets beat because she needs further, then fair enough. She can then go to Aintree, where she was second. She was just beaten by If the Cap Fits in the Aintree Stayers a couple of seasons ago. The flat track will suit her. So if she loses the mares and she needs further, then you go to Aintree and go for the Stayers hurdle at Aintree.
Yeah, no harm in doing that and take a tilt at when you head off to Liverpool. Charlie, day one, aside from the big race, where do you want to go in?
I'm with you, Rory. Would appreciate it. I think I was trying to get him beat. He kept on coming in, and I just kept on. I kept on looking through. I kept looking through, and I went, right, what can beat him? And then eventually, I just decided nothing can beat him. He's beaten everything that he can over in Ireland, and he's just going to reoppose them. I don't have any doubt that he'll do it again. And then kind of had Metier and Soaring Glory, and Soaring Glory winning the Betfair Hurdle. You just need to see the form of the Betfair Hurdle winners against the Supreme. It's an awful record, and I don't really support Metier. I didn't really take to him, so appreciate it for me. But as I'm agreeing with you, I'll also throw out Happy Go Lucky in the Ultima. I think he's a good thing.
Luke.
I think just a very quick one. I think Galvin for the National Hunt Chase is a very solid bet. I mean, you got to watch him last time out at Cheltenham. Absolutely pissed off. I think it's pretty solid. There's a couple in there. I think the further he goes, the better he goes. I picked one in the handicap. It's a bit of a. It's very hard. I thought I'd go for a bit of a handicap one. Cabot's Cliff in the Boodles. Didn't really know. I got to be honest. Didn't really know an awful lot about it until I watched it at Warwick the other week. Very impressive. The Peter Henderson short price one. Can't remember the name off the top of my head now, but it's about 14 to 1, 16 to 1 you can get. Again, you get lots of places. So I think it's a bit high up in the weight, admittedly, and it's got a bit more. It's got to raise what it's done, but I just think it looked really very impressive. It jumped well. Warwick's a left-handed track, should be all right at Cheltenham. And Tan Skelton, the owners, he's very good with his handicapped horses. So, I just think for that, I just think it's not the worst price. I'd be very surprised he's not in the top 6 at least. But yeah, just won this. I think, well, it was a handicap, a bit different, rather on a few of the main races of the day. But yeah, that.
I mean, one of the comments we've got in here that I'm just bringing up now is from Christian Adams. Basically says that day one will be the biggest favourites day in years.
I completely agree.
I was asked to put a Yankee together for someone earlier on, and I went through day one, and I just thought it's getting really hard to oppose a few of these now. Yeah. Like you say, appreciate it. you've spent not months, but weeks seeing where we can take on some of these favourites. I think Happy Go Lucky is a good thing. I think Galvin will go off favourite. I think he's a good thing as well. Roxana could go she could go off favourite.
I mean, to be honest with you, with the mares, I can't see it coming out of the winner coming out of anything but the first two.
And like you say, I'm sweet on Blue Lord in the Supreme, but Appreciate has beat everything. So I couldn't agree with that.
I actually think
Carl's going to look very chuffing smug when Appreciate It absolutely falters first race day one. Metier romps up. He's just counting his money whilst we're trying our eyes. That's day one, chaps. Obviously, day two, Champion Chase Day. Again, I think one of the big talking points is day two is the likelihood of us not seeing two very, very well-loved, famous horses, potentially the last time we'll ever see them on a race course in the form of Altior. And now that Tiger Roll isn't going for the National, I mean, do we see that horse ever race again? I mean, I personally think this is Altior's swan song. I don't think he'll step foot on a race course again after Wednesday. Absolute amazing horse, servant to the game. But I think similarly, as to what you said with Goshen earlier, I think again that illustrates P next to his name. He's either not going to finish that race, potentially he finishes second. He either goes very close, or as we saw with Sacra years ago, was never in the race. Pull him up. That's it. Done and dusted. Luke, I'll come to you first. Do you think this will be the last time we have to basically see Altior? Well, not have to. Altior.
I'm not so sure. I think, as Henderson said, he takes his races. It's quite hard. It does take a long time to recover. So I would say Aintree used to go to Aintree. Is it the Melanie used to go to? I think was it that one? I can't remember the race is called, but he used to go to I can't remember Bowl. That's it. Bowl. AG Bowl. That's it. And that's it. Sorry, yeah, Melon's a hurdle, I think. But anyway, yeah. So I think so. Again, I don't think you'll see him there. Possibly you might see him at Sandown at the end of the season in May, possibly if it all goes well. But I think you could be right. Again, doesn't owe the owners anything. Doesn't own Henderson anything. What would it be? How would it be? 12 next season. So,
yeah, he's 11 at them. Both him and Tiger all the both.
It's hard to see, isn't it? I mean, I think you have to see how he pans out in this race. But like I said, he's given people plenty of memories and different like that. But I wouldn't say it might not be his last. But I mean, if he bombed out, it probably would be his last. But maybe it's not loved. I mean, it was all right at Kempton, wasn't it? But it wasn't brilliant. He was being pushed all the way along. I mean, but yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully, he runs a good way. So for people, anyway, for a perspective, anyway,
yeah. I mean, it's one of those you don't want to see him going out. You'd hate to see. Fingers crossed, touch wood, and I'm going to say it. And if anything happens, it'll be my fault. I'll jinx it. But you'd hate to see him go out, the wrong way. Do you know what I mean? At the age of 11. I'll come to you, Carl. Obviously, I know it's not the big race of the day, but Tiger Roll. It's his only plan now. He's not attacked the bigger fences at Aintree. Again, same question. Do you think that's the last time we'll see Tiger Roll on a racecourse? I don't think O'Leary's going to be putting him to Aintree next year at the age of 12.
I firmly believe that this will be his last race. Yeah, I've seen nothing this season that in the flat run and the last run that suggests that he's got any life left in him. I'll be honest, I'm even surprised that he's running in the cross country this year.
Me too.
I just hope that it's obviously it's a cross country that the obstacles aren't the easiest, and I just hope that nothing bad happens because he just seems to have lost his mojo, lost all his spark, and I think even at his best, Easyland's going to take some beating, so I'm not sure what they've got to gain. Yeah,
exactly. So stick with you, Carl. Obviously, I mentioned the big race of the day is the Champion Chase. Chacon Pourtois is the clear-cut favourite. I mean, we've got Christine Adams again that basically says, actually says that Nube Negra could win the Champion Chase. Not quite sure. I'm sorry, Christian. No, can't be having that, buddy. I mean, you might make us all look like mugs, but No. We've also got Peter's Punts. He basically agrees with your Tiger rule is spent. There we go. Samuel Hart. Chacon Bonsoir is the biggest good thing going the entire week.
I can't believe Sam said that over Goshen. I know Sam personally, and I can't believe he said Chacon Bonsoir is a bigger good thing than Goshen. He's obsessed with Goshen. Sorry.
First question I have to ask, and I'll ask it to you, Charlie, is to me, even money about a horse, albeit a very good horse, but who's never even raced at Cheltenham, isn't that generous, is it? Even money?
Personally, I'm in agreement with what Sam said. I think Chacon Bonsoir is an absolute cert, and actually, I think if it wasn't a champion chase and it was another kind of race, I think he'd be super short. I just think there's this history of champion chases throwing up some weird results, but I really think he is a level above everything he's about to run against. I think the only thing that's going to beat him is himself. I don't think he has any problems with the track. Obviously, he hasn't run there, but he's run at Punchestown. That has an incline at the end, and I honestly can't see anything beating him apart from himself.
Do you think the fact that he hasn't run at Cheltenham, how big a negative? I know that you fancy him, but how big a negative on the scale of negatives would you put that?
I mean, I would be more put off him if he had run at Cheltenham and he'd lost. I think he goes there, and we don't know. Cheltenham might be his track. He might perform the best he's ever performed at Cheltenham. I don't think we know that. But for me, I can't see it being an issue because he can win over further. He won over 2 mile 1 in the last one, so I have no doubts he's going to stay 2 miles up Cheltenham.
No. Harry, your thoughts on the big one on Wednesday?
Well, I think Chacon Bonsoir and Easy's Land are 2 lays. Chacon Bonsoir, I don't know. I think the course is a big negative for me. I mean, getting him there still could be an issue anyway with Chacon, but I don't know. I can see Nube Neg replacing. I think he's the new kid on the block. I can also see the old timer Altior winning. Kempton's not his track. He's 5 from 5 at Cheltenham. I think when you look at it, you've got Chacon Bonsoir at 4 odds on, who's never raced at Cheltenham, and then next best in the betting is Altior at 7 to 1. So you're going to get some good value here on the each way, even if Chacon Bonsoir does win. And then you've got Put the Kettle On, who's also got great course form. Politolog, although I don't like Politolog with Harry Cobden on, I just don't think those two get along. He's last year's winner. There's loads of horses here with course form. So Royale was upside Altior 2 years ago at the last. Everyone's got course form, or almost everyone's got course form, apart from the odds-on favourite. And everyone else that has course form is a good each-way price. I'll be sticking with Altior, slightly sentimental, but also I think that was a nice prep from last time around the track that he doesn't like.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at it, I thought very similar to you. I thought Chacon Bonsoir has this big question mark against the course, and you've got, I think, about 2/3 of the remainder of the field that have all won over course and distance. 2 former race winners, and Politolog. I know he's not on the call. He's on the call tonight. Shout out to Chris Connolly. But I know that he said that Politolog for him to place would be his one of his bigger bets at the festival. I see the logic in it, but I agree with you, Harry. I don't like Harry Skelton on him. It's just not looked the same since Harry started riding. But what you mentioned is Put the Kettle On. Course form at Cheltenham. I think he's actually unbeaten at Cheltenham. Won at the festival last year. I actually tipped the horse, so potentially I'm swayed a little bit by that. But I think you look at some of the old guard like Altior, Politolog, coming to the end of the career. And I think First Flow is also a horse that probably deserves a mention. The way it won last time was absolutely obliterated the rest of the field. But for me, put the kettle on. Yeah, a decent each way price to sneak a place, maybe. Carl?
I'm with you, mate, on this one. I'm in the put the kettle on camp. The price is
See, you were going to go against something eventually.
We've got some agreement. Yeah, put the kettle on. Just like the course forms there. We know he stays. He's going to stay. Goes up the hill well. Which I know he's got the. I think it was back at Leopardstown in December, wasn't it? He ran against. And I think he went down about 8 lengths. And I can just see him turning that over with the Cheltenham Hill in play. I think, and at the price, it's a great price, isn't it? 10-1 each way. We'll have a play at that all day long.
Yeah, exactly. Last but not least, Luke.
I'm in the, like I said, it is a big negative. It does worry me, but I'm in the political camp. I just think that it won it last year. Again, the race before it didn't win, and then it's done exactly the same this time. That Ascot didn't run; it ran okay. And I just think Nichols is a master of it. He will get Politolog spot on for this race, and I think I'd be amazed if he's outside the top 3. I really would be amazed. And I think if he bowls along, and it might actually unsettle Shaq Ample. So if he bowls along and jumps like he did the last race, and it fell apart the last champion chase race last year, and Defi Dessau was short probably. He won the 3-on one and he blew out. But yeah, I just with Politolog, I just think tried and tested. Like you said, the only negative, and I wish Harry still won it. I don't know what he was thinking really. I've got to be. I mean, Numarega's got. I mean, he won off. Didn't even push Numarega last time out, but I just thought surely he'd be desperate to keep that ride, Harry Skelton. He was on him last year. I'm just very surprised even, whether the owners got involved or whatever that. But yeah, Politolog for me would be my one. And it's not a bad price for a former champion, is it, from last year, to be honest?
Not at all. I mean, we've got a question in here. Well, not a question, more an opinion from a bloke called Demetrius. Demetrius basically mentions First Flow. Absolutely smashed Politolog last time. It was very, very impressive. How do you think? I mean, that was a decent run, but
would First Flow not want it soft, whereas it's going to get dry, isn't it? I would have thought. I mean, all his form is on soft. Like,
do you think the ground's just going to be enough? I mean, how do you rate that form?
I just think it's going to dry out. I just think it'll dry out, and I just don't think it will necessarily suit First Flow. I could be wrong. I mean, Kim Bailey's got a good team this year, but he'll certainly have some chances.
I mean, I'll be honest. The horse was on my shortlist, like the last sort of 3. But again, I think everyone was very carried away by that performance last time. Whether or not he can live up to that again. Let's be honest, this is a much better race, albeit it's still against Politolog. But no, not for me. Can anyone make a case for him?
Yes, and it's based on the jockey. David Bass has been okay. Harry Skelton has not been far behind, but David Bass has been the best jumps jockey this season by a mile, and especially when it comes to chases. Front runners round Cheltenham on the chase courses. You've seen many of them get away. Recently, Cool Cody at the start of the season, he had no right to win win that race, but he wasn't fancied to win that race. Given a cracking front running ride, stays out in front, nothing got near him. I think you've got to be careful. Keep an eye on what David rides at all this week, to be honest, especially in the chases.
Yeah, picking up perhaps potentially like a handicap pot. Les British is not tied to one of the biggest yards, so grade 1 success perhaps not on the agenda. But I'm with you if you can, sneak in some sort of handicap with a decent horse. I really like the jockey myself. Obviously, that's the big race today on day 2, chaps. Away from that, there are a plethora of other races. I'm going to come to you first, Charlie. Your best bet of day 2 outside of the champion chase?
Yeah. My best bet of day 2 is also my just nap of the festival. I think Bob Ollinger is absolutely phenomenal. I just think he's going to win the Ballymore doing cartwheels. I think you look at the form of Gallard de Manil, and I just think that win at the Dublin Racing Festival, he beat Albert Bartlett horses, really. I don't think he was given a pace test. Really, he just finished better than them. Brave Man's Game, I think they're saying he's the next Denman, but Denman didn't win over novice hurdling. He was a chaser, and I think Brave Man's Game is going to be he's going to be probably the RSA or what's it, the Browns winner next year. I just think Bob Ollinger has speed. He's got gears. He stays. I just think he's an absolute good thing. And then I think Monte Cristo is fairly well in the Coral Cup as a side note as well.
Yeah. I like Bob Ollinger, but would you be a bit worried? I do like him a lot, but would you not be a bit worried again? Like, because he's only shown it on heavy and soft. All his wins, all his results. If you look at all his races, heavy, soft, heavy,
yeah,
heavy. And Brave Man Game, the more it dries out, the better, I think.
Yeah,
I like Bob Ollinger a lot, and I just think it's a good race either way. But
yeah, I mean, I read the Henry de Bromhead stable tour, and he said they don't think he'll have any problem with the ground, and if anything, he might be slightly better. It's just I think he's been hammered in for a reason, and I think he's going to go off favourite, and he's going to absolutely obliterate them.
It's just odd, isn't it, that he's run on all those sort of grounds, really? I don't know. It's just the timing, is it? I guess. But,
it might just be a coincidence, but
yeah.
Luke, yours for Wednesday?
Mine on Wednesday. I tell you what, I don't really fancy Kilcruit. I like Sir Gerard. I think this horse has got a big future, and it's a lovely looking thing. And when it goes over a hurdle and a fence, believe me, I think it's going to be a monster. But I just think I was impressed with it. I mean, the times, I think, not brilliant at best, but I just think Kilcruit, it almost looked too good to be true. How it happened. I think the race fell apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think that in that race, that Gerard, I think, has got a really good chance, really solid. I think really impressive. It's a shame JB Codd isn't on him. Always very helpful. Like they said, the owners have won it before with Roy Allen and 30 Hollow. So I think so I think I think that's a strong bet. I wouldn't surprise me if they win it again. But Mullins must be laughing getting that horse like that.
Exactly. I know, rubbing hands. I mean, shameless plug here, but it's only because you mentioned the horse. We did release this the end of last year, 60 Jumpers to Follow. I did put Sir Gerard in that, but I should stick with him. I should, and I'll claim some sort of props, probably unjustifiably, if it goes and end up giving a Cheltenham Festival winner back in October, November. But that race looks ridiculously competitive for me. Change of stable. I mean, just whilst we're on it, obviously we don't want to get into the Gordon Elliott too much. It's been done to death, and we all know what's happened. Yada yada yada. But with the likes of the Cheveley Park horses, how much do you think that's going to have affected them, a shift in stable, Carl? Do you think that's going to be a genuine issue, or is it too close to the event that you're not really going to see much of a difference? You know, likes of Envoy Allen, etc.
I think you'd be daft to say that it'll have no effect. Clearly, a complete change in scenery, a change in hay, change in daily, what they do day to day. That's going to have some form of effect. Whether it'll be negative enough to affect the result on the day, I don't think so. I think like Envoy Allen and stuff's just far too good. So for me, no.
And what's your best bet for day 2, mate?
Day 2, Wednesday. The Kilcruit thing, I just think, like Luke said, I think it looked almost too good to be true. And I'm going to go with that and go for Ramillies in that race at 16-1 each way. I just think there's such good value there. Willie Mullins goes really well in the race. I think Danny Mullins wanted to ride Ramillies at the Leopardstown Festival, but Willie told him to jump on Kilcruit, which obviously turned out right. But I can just see a big improvement from the other one from the Mullins yard.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'm going to give a bit of an odd one here on day 2. I'm going to go to the Coral Cup. Downside is they're entered in 2 races at the festival. So one on the Wednesday, and obviously the Coral Cup here on the Wednesday, and another handicap on the Friday. despite the fact the horse has been absolutely tripe over the past year, I just struggle to believe that Blue Sari is really that bad. This is a horse who finished second behind Envoy Allen in the champion bumper, then won their maiden hurdle, then went on to compete in a grade 1. I think it was behind Abracadabras against rivals who are now lining up in the champion hurdle. This is now back in a handicap. The horse seems to handle Cheltenham until it finished second in the bumper, albeit I know it is a bumper, but represents major connections. Was poor when pulled up last time, but that was after over a year out, so I'm hoping he'll be fitter for that. If he is fit for that, I'm happy to have a small each-way play, a punt at around 33s. Blue Sari, again, it's a bit out there, it's a bit left field, but worth mentioning, Blue Sari, Coral Cup, 33-1. If you can get 6-7 places, the bookies go daft at Cheltenham, then you know what, I'll do tentatively a small bet each way on Blue Sari. I'm probably mental, I know, but away from that bit of absolute nonsense and hopefully with a more saner idea. Yourself, Harry?
For me, well, I'm following Charlie here, but not in the same races, but not the same horses. It's going to be one of my biggest betting days by the looks of it. I think it might be the biggest betting day for me. I want to put my strongest bet as Botox has in the Coral Cup, but it's a Coral Cup massive run handicap.
When Blue Sari absolutely destroys him.
So my map's Brave Man's Game, and I've been a Brave Man's Game ever since Newbury. He's got a decent enough clip throughout the race, and I've not got my timings on me, but I compared him to the handicap hurdle earlier in the day, and the way he's managed to quicken Brave Man's Game from about 3 or 4 out to the line, and obviously he's gone through the line strongly as well. Considering that they went a decent enough pace throughout the race, then quicken like he has as well. It was very eye catching for me. I know a lot of people also mentioned the time after the race as well. Like Charlie said, Gaillard and Menil, don't like the form whatsoever. If Bob Ollinger wins, Bob Ollinger wins. Fair enough, but I think Brave Man's Game wins this, and I've got big bets. Well, I've got slips of much bigger price on Botox has in the Coral Cup. His form figures at the track are 2-2-1. He obviously the one was at the start of the season. He beat All Mankind. The 2 in the middle, he was behind Langadan. Obviously, that got a huge form boost the other day. And then I've read during the week as well that Gary Moore had actually said he'd actually been mapped out for this race. Botox has. So I'm on at 25s and above. He's now 12s.
You're not the only one to be fancying Botox has. In the comments, we've got James Lowry, who's put forward Botox has as his best bet of day 2. We've also got Steve Pantin. Botox has a great shout. I'm on this. It's certainly not as left field as mine. People seem to see the sense in what you're saying. Nice.
Course form there. The ground will suit as well. He's had a couple of soft ground runs this year as well, which won't have suited. So a return to a sounder surface, definitely up his street.
Yeah.
What just on your selection, Blue Sari, something just popped into my head yesterday. Obviously, the colour JP's horses did so well last year with Barry on board. Obviously, no Barry this year. Would that affect people's thoughts of JP's horses?
I think to be honest, when it comes to JP, I think it depends what sort of a punter you're looking at. If you're looking at a very, very casual punter, by that I mean, your auntie, your mum, your local greengrocer who might have a bet on the National and at Cheltenham and maybe the Derby throughout the year. I don't, the sort of like the fair weather punters, I don't think that'll make much of a difference, potentially, in the sense that they'll see the green and gold. It's the green and gold. And then I guess as you get to your more clued up punters, for want of a better term, I mean, when I don't tip a thing that wins, then I will be well and truly in the fair weather camp. But I like Barry Garrity. I remember him riding Moscow Flyer, and I was a massive fan and stuff like that. I know that they don't necessarily have a standout riding JPs, like as in the number one guy, but I actually quite like that because you're going to end up with various different jockeys. I know Aidan Coleman obviously rides a few. John Joe O'Neill Jr. will pick up a few. You've obviously got the guys from Ireland who will ride the Irish contingent that represent JP. And if I'm honest, I think in the sort of like the last couple of years, I slowly started to go off Barry. I think perhaps he'd gone at the game a little bit. If you're having an educated sort of idea, I don't think that worries me at all, to be honest. And then, I mean, you look at the likes of Epitant as well. I mean, who's riding Epitant? It's
Aidan Coleman.
Aidan Coleman. I prefer Aidan Coleman than Barry Garrity, if you had to give me the two. As it is now, at their peak, is a debate. Well, it's not a debate, really. It's Barry Garrity, but now, no, Aidan Coleman, obviously, he's the one, and Barry Garrity's no longer riding, so it's just, no, Aidan Coleman, yeah, doesn't bother me. It's worth mentioning, but nah,
yeah,
not an issue.
It's interesting what you say about Garrity, because I just think, for the handicap point of view, you got Garrity and Russell. You look at last year; those two, they stuck together like glue. You haven't got that this year. You've actually lost a lot of experience, and you've got a few and I think a pace angles are really interesting, particularly in the first couple of handicaps. You will see, because I think some inexperienced jockeys will bomb off, and it could be a bit of a hold for a lot of these, and you could be picking them up. And I think if your horse is sort of a bit behind, in the pack, I think you could see a late charge. It just Garrity and Russell were experts there. It's a real shame that Russell isn't there. Yeah. But it does put a whole different dimension onto the actual handicap races, I think.
Yeah, I mean, just mentioning Russell there, he's a jockey that I would follow, not necessarily religiously, but if I saw it, I'd always have one or two of his mounts backed at the festival without question, especially in the handicaps. If he didn't necessarily always have like the best grade one horses in terms of riding. But for me, see him in a handicap. I remember back in, I think it was Maldini or something like that. At a decent price. I think he won. Don't think he even won, but I think he might have placed something like that in a big handicap. And the ride he gave it was absolutely sublime. Yeah, I mean, and also like you mentioned as well, obviously this whole ban on amateur riders. So you've got the likes of the Mark Pipe, you've got the likes of the Bumper, where a lot of these guys will take centre stage. Now you're going to have your professionals, and I think that's a shame as well. Like Jamie Codds. You even got the 4 mile as well as you see. Amateur riders, it's an absolute shame, especially with talent like that, we're not going to get to see. But it is what it is. Those are the rules. You've got to stick by them, so be it. Moving on, chaps. Day 3, Stayers Hurdle, big race of the day. Obviously, Time Hill isn't in there anymore. I was a big Time Hill fan. I was a big Paisley Park fan as well. I was really, really struggling to split them. Thankfully, the Hobbs team have made it much easier for me. You've also got the likes of there's our Oscar in there. But for me personally, with Time Hill now out of the race, the only horses that I think can actually challenge Paisley Park is outside Burley. But I think he'd need to produce more than what he's shown in his career so far. Or potentially, and it's a bit out there, but potentially maybe with one of the Gigginstown runners who could surprise and produce a shock, like some sort of random Irish runner that comes and it's just one we've not really seen perform up to that level, pull something magical out of the bag. But to me, Paisley Park, the way it won last time, that's an near enough his best. I'm a big Aidan Coleman fan, as I've already said. I just don't think it gets beat. Charlie?
Yeah, I as I said right at the beginning, Time Hill was probably my nap of the whole festival, so that's devastating. After the Paisley Park's heart problem last year. Even though he did bounce back to form, there's just something about it I just don't like it. I think quite an interesting one that's been entered, which wasn't expected, was Vindication. Vindication is actually 4 from 4 over hurdles, and on his third run, he beat Champ. Obviously, that form is phenomenal now, and he's 60. When I looked last,
on Harry's face there.
It's another horse I'm sitting. Well, it's another horse I'm sitting on big splits, 25s and above again. And you are literally saying everything I was going to say about Vindication. I think he's only had 3 starts. Listed winner after beating Champ, giving him £6, 152 after 3 starts. He could be anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So
last time you win the hurdles?
I'd say 2018, maybe 17.
Yeah,
no, we're 2021 now, aren't we? Not 2020.
Yeah.
Probably 2018.
Yeah.
Does that worry you at all, Charlie?
No, not for me. I think I don't see a problem with him coming back over hurdles. I also actually, at the prices, I think Fury Road at 14s, I think is absolutely massive. I mean, you just look how he beat Time Hill in the Albert Bartlett last year. He hasn't come out really and performed, but I think if he bounces back at Cheltenham, I think he's a massive price as well at 14s.
Some people are putting forward Flooring Porter. We've got a comment there. Keith Joel. It's not a horse that I know too much about.
Flooring Porter is one actually I was going to put up actually.
Really?
Yeah. No, I think he's interested at Leopardstown. It seems to have progressed, seems to have improved. Vindication, incidentally, 2018 at Huntington, so last hurdles win he had. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a cracking shout to be honest. A bit of a surprise, I think he went that way, really. But go back to Flooring Porter. That day at Leopardstown at Christmas, it beat Storyteller, it beat Sire de Burley, it beat Fury Road that day. I'm sure it'll improve again for that. I think it's gone on the radar a little bit. It's a small owner. I can't really know off the top of my head now, but obviously it's a syndicate horse, so it'd be great for them. But I think it's got a cracking chance. I think it's sort of just gone on the radar. I mean,
what's the price now? Is about 6 to 7? I think it's 30.
Yeah, he's 8 to 1. I think 7 to 1, 8 to 1. But I mean, Paisley Park. I thought I had a little play on Paisley Park anti-post at 6 to 1, only because I thought the whole heart thing was a bit of an overreaction in terms of horses come back from it. I thought at the time, well, it's just everybody panicking. I mean, horses can have a bad run, and it's shown very well in every race, and it'd be great for the owners to win and the trainer to win, Emma Lavelle. But I think Flooring Porter, I think it's got a really good chance. It's just gone on the radar a little bit. Again, I would have picked, but
yeah, I mean, we've got Graham Anderson says Flooring Porter will basically stay as my banker of the week. Carl.
Horse though, Flooring Porter. So whether that might pick up, Paisley Park might just sort of catch it and sort of stick it on the line, possibly. But yeah, that'd be my worry. But it will bomb on forward, for sure. Let's just see. I think it's got a great chance.
So you know what? I have to jump in here. Chris Connolly, one of the PFTP lads, has sent a little comment in. There's Paisley Park wins barring something going wrong, and he has banged on about Bacardi's at a massive price, potentially sneaking a place. I think it's about 66 to 1. Surely he's mad, Carl. Surely he's mad. Carl?
He is for me. I think I was gonna. The two that I've got marks next to are both Flooring Porter and Lisnagar Oscar. Flooring Porter's got a lot of form with others in the race and come out on top, but we've already gone through that. I think Lisnagar Oscar had a wind up and then put in a really nice race together at Haydock. Only went down, I think, 3/4 of a length. I think can come on for that again. Obviously, won the race last year at a massive price. I think it's 50 to 1 or something daft, wasn't it? Yeah. And I'm firmly in that camp again. I think I got on at 25s. I'm also on at 16s as well. And those I'm sticking with my instinct from back then. Those prices were just far too big to turn down. So I'm going to stay firmly in that camp.
Yeah, Harry, now I know you're on Vindication and you're going to echo exactly what Charlie says, but I have to give you your 2 cents worth.
Yeah, I will just say...
What's the biggest danger to Vindication? Obviously, I know you're really, really hot on Vindication, but...
I'd get the trip, maybe. I mean, he does stay it, so he does stay it over flat tracks, over fences, so it shouldn't be an issue. It's the only. I can't. I think he still is overpriced. I think he was massively overpriced. I've always said since I've done since I wrote this up as well that Cider Burley will be bang there. Course, I can't remember the course form, but I don't think he's ever.
I don't think he's ever finished out the first 2 or 3 or something.
After 3 attempts at Cheltenham, I think so. He'll be bang there. You know, I do like the angle on with Miguel Oscar. I thought it was a very good run after the wind up. Well, yeah, Vindication, one of my biggest each way bets of the festival. So
that's it. I mean, away from the big race, boys. Obviously, got another 6 races to tackle. Luke, I'll come to you first. Your best bet of Thursday.
I'm really sweet on Min. I think Min is massively overpriced at 6 to 1. I just think it won it last year. If Paul Tanner does exactly the same on it, this cannot be anything. I think it is a bit more open, but I just think I'm not too worried about his last run because it's not his trip anymore. And if he'd finished against Shaq Puswa, if he comes second against him, he would have been half that price. I think at 6-1, you can do it each way if you want. It won't be out of the top 3. I just think it was so impressive last time. Cheltenham. I just think it's completely under the radar. I think, to be honest, Mellon's in the race. Always I like Mellon, but it's always
your bridesmaid, Mellon.
The bridesmaid, right? Is it? You know what I mean? And it'll come second. It's probably the nap of the festival. Probably a place. I mean, that's
another side of Burley will definitely place. Mellon is.
Yeah.
I just really think. I think it's 6 to 1. I'd be amazed if that price come for Thursday. I think obviously you've got Imperial Order, Kim Bailey's one in there. Allaho. I don't think Allaho was that good. I think he gave him a soft lead. They gave him a massive lead last time out and nearly got caught. I think Sierra May was so far behind that day. I mean, it was only her first run, but she was not far off it. Wasn't that impressed with it, really, to be honest. But it's the same prep, same thing. I just think it, like it's course form, isn't it? Course form's been there and done it, got the t-shirt. And I just think a 6-1 is really big. I just think I'm surprised. But yeah, that's been my bet.
I see you nodding your head in agreement. Yeah. I mean, are you in the Min camp or?
Yeah, in the right now, I will be in the Min camp. I mean, Min's shown before he's not been 100%, and he's been a bit disappointed. He comes back and he's just better than ever. I really do agree. I was on him at 5s before that race, and then when he drifted out to 7s, I really backed it. I think he's a great shout, but it is a very competitive race. But my nap for the day will come in a race that I have a horrific record in, but there's just one that I absolutely love, and it is Come On Teddy in the Potemps. Yeah. He stood out to me. Maybe it was a bit of bias because my nephew's called Teddy, and I spotted the name, and I just thought, let's take a look into this. But I saw when he ran at Cheltenham in December, he won. He beat On the Blind Side by 5.5 lengths. When he went into the Potemps qualifier, I thought, yeah, I'll give that one a follow. And all I was praying for was a 3rd, 4th, 5th, just kind of get in. And he came 2.5 lengths behind Imperial Alcazar, and I think that shows great form. And yeah, I just think he's quite well in, and I think he's about 12 to 1 at the moment. And I think that's a great each way price.
Yeah, I mean 12 to 1. Yeah, it's not a bad price at all, is it? Really, if you consider what I've done.
He's getting twice the amount of weight off Imperial Alcazar as he did the last day as well, I believe, or almost twice the amount. So he's getting a lot more. Yeah, he's another one that I like. Come on, Teddy.
Would you say that'd be your best bet of?
No, hope. Well, depends. I'm on Dashel Drasher.
Yeah.
He's course and distance winner. He's not some. It really annoys me that people think he's some flat track Ascot specialist bully. He's won at Chepstow, I think, or Fossler. He's won all over the place, and I think I can't remember now, but he's something like 6 from 9 over fences. he's a very good horse that is being disrespected and should definitely go for this race. He's a front runner. Front runners at Cheltenham on the chase course, as I've already said. The last two winners, Min was always in the front three. Frodon, look what he did from the front. Obviously, he has. Obviously, they're talking that he might miss this. Dashel Drasher is overpriced and he has to go here because it will suit to a T.
What's he currently priced up at the moment? You know,
I think he might just be clipped into 16s. He was 20s after. 20s after. I'm on at 20s after Ascot. And look, he destroyed. Look, people thought he had to lead as well. He proved that wrong at Ascot. Surname took him on. All of a sudden, Dashel Drasher was 4 lengths off Surname. And then Matt Griffiths got him into a routine, got him jumping. Next thing you know, he's in front of Surname and Surname's dropped anchor like that. Whereas Dashel Drasher...
It was an impressive win, that. I mean, I'll be honest, I was all over Surname that day. I didn't give it a cat in hell's chance.
To be fair, I did tip up Dashel Drasher that day as well. So, the attitude, a big thing for me of horses is attitudes. As much as you look at their handicap mark, the attitudes. And his attitude was unbelievable when things were going against him at Ascot that day. He picked his chin up. He was given a cracking ride. He, as I say, destroyed Surname. He outstayed Master Tommy Tucker, who jumped well that day. So, you can't say that Master Tommy Tucker was a no-show because it
was a surprise in itself, to be fair.
Yeah. So he finally brought his best and he jumped his best and he still beat him. Look, he's well overpriced for this. And I'm worried about Min. Obviously, now 10-year-old, 11-year-old, to bomb out. He's not 8-year-old bombing out and then coming back anymore. He's a 10, 11-year-old, 10-year-old coming back. It's a big worry for me. Allaho should not be favourite in this race.
No, I'd be happy to say no with anything.
Certainly should not be 9-2 favourite. He's 0 from 2 at the track. Mellon will place. Mr. Fisher, good chance if it doesn't get too damp. Dashel Drasher is well overpriced.
Yeah. Carl, Thursday, aside from obviously the big race.
Harry's just mentioned it, and that's Mr. Fisher. Course form, I just love the horse. Goes up Cheltenham Hill. His performance in December to beat Kalashnikov, I thought was really smart. Cheltenham last year only went down about 4 lengths to Sam Crow. And there's something just screaming out at me with Mr. Fisher. I really understand. Dashel Drasher is my main worry in the race. The horse has got a heart of a lion, and getting past it's going to be the biggest issue. It's just got so much guts, and good luck to anyone getting past it. But I think if anybody does, it's Mr. Fisher, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mine, certainly last but not by no means least, my alternative selection, obviously away from the Stayers Hurdle, I was going to be even more boring and go for another favourite, Envoy Allen. I just don't think he gets beat. But later on the card, I think it's the 340 race. We've got the Paddy Power Plate. Now, I know the saying is as old as the mother-in-law in terms of horses for courses, but it does ring true in some cases. We've obviously already spoken about the fact that one of the question marks was Chacon Paul Suarez, that he's not done it here at Cheltenham. But the horse that has done it here at Cheltenham is Mr. Whitaker, who I'm surprised is only a 9-year-old. It seems like he's been here a much longer time, but he's only 9. Absolutely loves it. It's here at Cheltenham. Finished 3rd in a similar race last year. That was off a £2 higher mark. He's only £1 higher than the last winning mark. He's a former course and distance Grade 2 winner. He'll be fitter for his return last month. Take the 14-1 you can get. For me, one of the best each way bets of the week. Mr. Whitaker in the 340, the Paddy Power.
Completely agree there, Rory.
Yeah, you're spot on there. I remember what I was on him at Warwick last time, and he was never put into the race.
No.
And then they turned in and they turned in, and the jockey gave him a bit of rein, and he soon made up a bit. He still finished sixth, but he was only allowed to get on with it a bit when they turned into the home straight and the race was over. It was clearly a prep run for this.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, like I said, 14-1. Yeah, I think again, if you can get a bookie paying 5, 6 places, I'd be shocked if he wasn't in the first 5 or 6. Really shocked. Last but not least, gents, we've got Friday. We've got the big day, the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup. Oh, you know, I put a vote out on Twitter. I said, is this year's Gold Cup more or less competitive than last year's? It was a resounding vote that said this year's by 80% is more competitive than last year's. Would you agree with that, Carl?
Yeah, 100%. There's so much more depth in this race. There's so many different angles. It's going to be really interesting to see what goes on up front. Whether it's going to, we've got Native River and Frodon going to be dueling out up top, so there's going to be some pace. Album Photo, obviously, we all know how good he is. A Plutard, how well he stayed on. I think with that in mind and the pace on up front with Frodon and Native River, I think it's a great shout. You've obviously got Champ ran over 2 miles the last day at Newbury, which is an interesting prep run. We'll see how he goes. Yeah, really open race. There's some real great depth to it. I'm really looking forward to the Gold Cup this year, more so than last year. It was one of those. The Gold Cup's the Gold Cup, but I weren't that bothered about it last year. I don't know about you.
Well, I was the same. I was the same. There was nothing that was like really sparked my interest. That was like, you know. So where's your money going in it, buddy?
I'm really torn, and I'll put 2 forward, 2 that I mentioned in that just there. Frodon's one of them horses that just keeps getting better and better and better, and I don't know whether we've hit the roof yet there. It's a big ask, and to be fair, would have any of us said the King George? Any of us said that he would have ran the race he did there? No, probably not. The market certainly didn't speak for that. I went off at a huge price. It was like 33s or something. But a Plutard's one for me that I think there's some great value there still. I think you can still get 5, 6 to 1 there. There's going to be a strong pace for him to go at, and yeah, I'm going to stick my money there. I think with a Plutard.
For what it's worth, my opinion, I mean, I'm probably right what I know about racing on the back of a stamp, but if I'm being totally honest, when it comes to the Gold Cup, at first glance, I was pretty convinced it wasn't that competitive. And what I mean by that is that there was nothing in the race to challenge the favourite. Everything behind it, you could make a case for. You know, you take Album Photo, you could make a blanket finish of about 5 or 6 and still not end up with a winner. But I'd probably say it's not as easy as I first thought in terms of trying to find one here. You've got a couple of young pretenders in there with like Apple Card and Royal Pagaille now goes in that race. Then the horse with tons of question marks in terms of Champ. Obviously, we all know he's very classy, but he's still got this massive grey area. Can he do it at this stage, you know, in a Gold Cup with what was a ridiculously sort of odd you know, but obviously still a very classy animal. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got former race winner Native River, who returned to winning ways, but obviously at the age of 11, as he's still got it in him to win a race like this. And the decision I'm struggling with is whether to play safe with the favourite or look for value to finish in the placings. I've got to have sort of my punter's head on. And although I can't see past ABP winning, and I think that he's the most likely winner of the race, I think 33 to 1 for Lost in Translation. He placed in the race last year, and he was a former course winner who's never been out of the placings at 2 visits to the festival. He's absolutely ridiculous. 33 to 1. Yes, I know he's not shown as much, but we've seen it many a time before, a horse not do as well. But on the day when it comes to the festival, pull something out of the bag. 33 to 1, massive price. Again, if bookmakers are being generous and they're giving some daft 4 or 5 places to finish in that at 33 to 1, if you're getting a quarter of the odds, what's that? 9.5, 9.25 to 1 to finish in a place, compared to what is even money, 11 to 10, 6 to 4 at best for album photo. Yeah, give me Lost in Translation, 33 to 1 to place. Yeah, I just think behind the favourite, you can make a case for like half the field. So why not go for one at a big price? Harry?
I hope that when he wins the Gold Cup, that people apologise to Nicky Henderson this year for all the crap they've given him about placing his horses, because Champ wins this. And not only will this be a victory for Nicky, it'll be a victory for Henrietta Knight as well. What she's done with this horse is unbelievable. It's half the reason he's only ran once this year is because he spent pretty much most of the summer schooling with Henrietta Knight. She stripped him all the way back to the start. She effectively broke him in again. It's the amount of effort she's put into this horse, and it paid dividends. Oh, okay, he didn't win on reappearance, but you could see that the work that she's done on Champ's jumping is about to pay, is about to prove worthwhile, because he's jumped. The question mark was his jumping, and he can now jump, and he stays, and he wins the Gold Cup with ease.
I mean, if you want someone to show you how to win a Gold Cup, you couldn't think of anyone better than Henrietta Knight, best mate, etc., etc. Charlie?
God, I think album photo kind of falls into the category of like an Altior or a Tiger Roll, where like I love him and I'll be backing him because it's album photo. It's a Gold Cup. He's going for 3 of them. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't win it. I agree with what Harry said. I think Champ's got an absolutely banging shout. I think the only issue I have with Champ is that we saw that he could jump, but that's because he was going at a fast pace. And if for any reason he's kind of caught in a pocket or he's not going as fast as he wants, I think he can get a bit too keen, and that way he might be running the finish out of himself. When you said the words "lost in translation," I had flushes of regret back to his last run. I said in a preview before his last run, I went, "This is a cliff horse, and this is the last time I'm going to back him." He spat the dummy out, and then I spat the dummy out on him. I'm never touching him ever again.
You just think you won't him for me, Charlie. That is not a problem.
I did exactly the same with Lost in Translation. I said that's the last time. He was my anti-post bet for last year's Gold Cup.
Yeah. So I can't be having him. I think the introduction of Native River back into it is interesting. I think he'll be able to do what he did in 2019, just kind of galloped away from the front and just kind of he'll just stay it. As much as I hate him, I actually think a great each way shout is Santini. I really despise him, but I just think he's gonna get up there in the places. It will be more of a just a watch and enjoying it, and hopefully you're up or a kind of even money around the Gold Cup stage. You're not putting your money on it and trying to hope to save the festival or anything. So I'll probably be watching it and having a saver on album photo.
I mean, mentioning Santini, we've keep your comments coming in, folks. I can put them up on the screen here, read them out. Again, are we not forgetting Santini back with the same visor on as last year as well? And would you think that sort of head, infrastructure, a bit of headwear will help, Charlie? Do you think that's a massive thing? Or? I
mean, we saw it help him last year. I think if that race was probably half a furlong longer, he probably would have won it. He's just an absolute bloke. He just keeps staying. He's never going to like gas himself out. He's just going to keep going. And I think the headgear is probably the right call. He's probably like something I would think about backing. And know that I probably should, but just because I don't like you, I'm not going to, which is probably idiotic of me.
Oh no, it's one of those. You love your certain horses and you'll follow them off the cliff and then into the water, and then 25 depths below. There's other horses that will do your own once, and that's it. It's a big black mark against it. Even if it wins again, you'll swear it until the day is done. It's the emotion of racing, isn't it? Luke, Gold Cup, who wins it?
I got to be honest, I got to disagree with everybody. I don't think it's that competitive. I really don't. I think a load of them have had question marks all season. They've not done. I don't think there's one horse in that race where I think, oh, he's the World Cup winner. Any race he's done this season, you think about Aplutard, Kenboy and Mellon went at like a clapping like it was no end tomorrow, and he ginned them both. Kenboy hasn't 4 or 5 runs at Cheltenham, hasn't shown anything. I would feel it wasn't brilliant at Trelaw, but that's just to try and test the goes. The problem. Lost in Translation's been all over the show this season. They just haven't got him right. But again, on good grounds, if it's like that, I think it's a cracking shout each way for everybody. I love Native River. It's one of my favourite horses, and I hope for their family and everything like that, for the sake that they win it from like a personal point of view. I got on at 50-1 anti-post, so I'm quite pleased with that. 50-1, if it hangs in for a place, it'd be great, but I just worry about the grounds. Royal Bulgaria, I think it's a strange one. I'm surprised. I thought the background hasn't run anything.
Do you think they've made the right decision sending him to the Gold Cup? Is there anyone in here that's like? I mean, see you shaking your head, because I had that horse pinned down as probably one of my better bets in the staying novices event. I mean, yes, he won really well last time, and people were shouting from the rooftop, Gold Cup horse, but it's not. What's he beaten? He's not done much.
I was one of them, and he should go for the Gold Cup. You just don't. He's good enough to be in here, and you just don't know that your horse is going to be fit next season. You can't just say, "Oh, well, he's only had 4 runs. He's still technically a novice. There's always next season." You don't know that.
He's also going to have to contend with this. The other Richie horse, Monkfish, is going to be the favourite next year. He's probably going to win it. So if he's going to win it, it might be this year.
Yeah, you can't. He's running to marks of high 160s. Not plenty good enough to be in here, especially after just 4 or 5 chase runs here. You don't always have to play the conservative route. Sometimes you've got the horse, you go for it.
Yeah. I think if you're going to win both of them, you'd rather win the Gold Cup and you'd rather give it a go. Yeah. And the thing is that the National Hunt Chase, it has thrown up some weird ones. And if anything, there's some horses that are too classy for the race and they don't end up winning it. So I can see the angle. I'm just a bit gutted because I was on at 28 for the National Hunt Chase. That's probably why I'm angry.
Pocket talking to each other right now.
It's a strange one, isn't it? I just think that the ground's going to dry up in the week, and he hasn't done anything else on good or good to start. I think I get your point. Take the chance. It could.
I suppose you've already made excuses if you didn't do it as well.
If it breaks down next season, then you think, well, what if? Don't you? I guess I completely get why he did it. I'm just a bit surprised. Just the way that if you look at the weather, the way everything out, I just think that, like I said, he's still a novice and he's still inexperienced, and that he's not come up against this caliber of horses. I mean, not that they're all stand that by any means, but he's coming up against it's another step up. Yeah, like I said, take the chance. Richie will. I'm sure he will. I don't think he's ever won a Gold Cup, has he, Richie?
No.
So I can see it. He might win it with Monkfish next year. But my choice for the Gold Cup. I can't believe I'm saying it. At the start of the season, I think if he does win, and I'm agreeing with Harrier, if he does win, this is one of Henderson's greatest training performances ever. Champ, I mean, that run was very impressive at Newbury. I think Skill Royal is a decent horse, 2 miler, decent horse. I think Champ, I like Alpenflow. I love Native River to win, but I just think my head is saying Champ. I think he's got to jump better. He has to really be on it. It almost has to be a faultless performance. But I think Champ has a great chance, and obviously. Yeah, like you said, I think as long as he's in there, I don't think he needs to bomb at the front. I wouldn't be surprised if he just picks him off at the end and just goes, that's how you think I'll play it.
Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. No, and that's how I feel. But yeah, like I said, my heart says Native River. I'd love him to win, but my head is saying Champ. Yeah, that's just, yeah.
One horse we haven't mentioned, I want to come to you with this, Carl, and Craig Simeon's put it up here in the chat. He says, Manila Rindo, win and place from just 2 runs at the track, 12-1. Great odds, will win. Yeah, I mean, he's right in what he says. You know, he's not been out of the frame when he's raced here at Cheltenham, but I mean, I can't see it myself. You know, I hate to apologies there, Craig, but I think there's better and classier types. I think Rindo's his form is like up down, like a like a Richter scale during an earthquake. He's one of those that he just seems to be a bit of an also ran.
I saw something with Henry de Bromhead, and he said they're going to ride Minolarindo prominent. Considering Champ outstayed him last year, I'd be a bit worried Minolarindo being up there with Native River and Frodon.
Yeah, I think potentially they'll just cut each other's throats. I mean, especially Native River and Frodon. Geez, you're going to get near them. Just
the fact that we've already seen Minolarindo didn't stay or appeared to not stay last year, you know, you can only see him tying up the hill again.
Yeah. Right, lads, we've done the Gold Cup. We've done the 4 big races. Best bet of the day, final day. If someone's got empty pockets, they've got the last fiver, it's come to day 4 and it's like, geez, guys, give us something. Carl, best bet, Friday, 4th day, final day of the festival.
For me, it was wide receiver, but I'll screw that one up and chuck that in the bin. Really liked it. The form of Gordon Elliott in that race was absolutely phenomenal. But we'll move on from that, and I'm going to go with a yard that's absolutely flying at the minute in the county hurdle. They've ran really well in this race previously as well. And that's 3rd time lucky at 8-1 for the Skeltons in the county hurdle. I think the last day at Musselburgh, when we had all the chaos with the betting scandal and all the rest of it, ended up in a race, absolutely clattered the last, and I thought, gee, that's career ending, kind of clattered last. But the horse, I just don't think we've reached the bottom of it yet off a mark of 143. And I think 8s, 9s you can still get is a ridiculous price for that horse.
I agree.
I was very annoyed that they sent him to Musselburgh. I said because I've got 25 or 28-1 for him for the Supreme. Obviously, he's not going there now. So I'd invested interest. And I was saying to people the week before, they won't gain anything from him running here. They will only lose something. I think
Harry Skelton came out and said it was a mistake to run him there as well.
Yeah, I think Dan did. I saw Dan did with Coral. He said a mistake. It's a head scratcher, and he's got a great chance.
Race will have left a mark on it though.
Potentially, it was desperate ground that day, wasn't it?
Yeah. Harry, whilst you're chatting, yours. I think, to be honest, yours and mine are the same here on Friday, so I'll let you take it first.
I think was this my one for the week.
Oh, it might be. What do you fancy on Friday? Fire it at me, and I'll see if I'm right.
Well, Xana here's the nap on Friday. Boring short price. It's disgraceful that he's this close to Tritonic in the betting. Like answers on a postcard, please. That they were. I think he's now just slightly shorter than Tritonic, but the fact that they were joint in the betting is ridiculous. The times of Xanahere's runs, the form, everything's there. Tritonic, Castellupi's out tomorrow at Stratford, which will be interesting to see how he gets on for Tritonic form. But I just obviously to be a bit less boring than a 7-4 shot. I'm very keen on 50 ball in the county hurdle. I think that Betfair hurdle. I think the top 8 horses are nice horses. I think that's one of the better Betfair hurdles you're going to see, and the top 8 are very nice horses in there.
Luke, best bet Friday.
Well, it's funny. I really like 3rd time lucky. I think Carl's spot on with him. Like Dan Skelton's won it in the last 5 years, I think. And obviously, like Xanahere was one of mine that I really liked. I've got 6-1, I think, Anthony Post. So I'm quite pleased with that. And like I said, I'm not sure about the product, but I have to see. One just off which was in my sort of short list, but for that Friday, it's a bit different, is in the Hunter's Chase. Bob and Co. I think that's what winning the Hunter Chase at the moment. And I know fellow pundit Matt Polly loves the Hunter Chases. Yeah, that's we have to hear about all the time. But we like that one. But yeah, Bob and Co. For me in the Hunter's Chase. Harry Copton's on board. I think probably I wouldn't maybe necessarily pick it if an amateur was on it, but I think obviously it's a bit the dynamics of the race change. But Nichols has got a good record in it. Pasha DePola won it a couple of years on the bounce, I believe. I can't remember, a few years back now, but. Yeah, so I think that's I think I can go at 4-1. I think it's a good price, and then like you said, Carl said, third time lucky. I think it's an excellent chance. I mean, that's for the top 6. You get that. There's a big price. Probably get 6 places. Place that for 8-9-1. Can't lose really. And they said Saturday, I think it's going to be a really good horse in the future. And then Bob and Co.
Absolutely doubt that because Bob and Co is one of my real big fancies.
Yeah. I just think it's got a good chance.
I don't know how he's not favourite.
Oh yeah, it'll get especially if Nichols has a good week. I think he'll get shorter, but I think it's quite set. It was about 4-1 at the moment, isn't it? 4 or 5-1 maybe.
Yeah, Bob and Co. 4-1. Yeah.
But yeah, so that'd be my one for the day.
Charlie, Friday.
Yeah. My Friday's one, I think Ellie May is just going to absolutely hack up the Mayor's Chase. But she has been fairly well backed. I think she's 13-8, so I'll go for one at slightly bigger odds. I think when you look at last year, you had Samoa he just came out of nowhere, and you could tell how well handicapped he is. And I think if there's going to be one that happens at Cheltenham this year, it's going to be Gentleman to Me and the Martin Pipe. I think he's just got such a good mark. And I really wouldn't be surprised to see him just absolutely bolt up here.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm going to be boring. You both mentioned Ellie May. I could look for something at better value, but fuck it. You know, Ellie May's one of my certs for the week sort of thing. Ultimate race of the entire meeting. Obviously, it's the new Mayor's Chase. And, would you believe it? I'm thinking another Willie Mullins favourite. But really impressed with how Ellie May won at Mays last time. She went close to Allaho. Now up against her own set. She's the one to beat for me. An obvious pick, I know, but obvious for a reason sometimes. If it's obvious for a reason, it's because it's going to win. Ellie May, for me, should round off the festival. Obviously, those are our bets for all 4 days. Obviously, we've shared your guys' bets, people that have been commenting. Thank you very much for all that and for watching. So without further ado, I am going to pop on the screen what I'm going to do here at PFTP, something that's personally close to my heart, is Mind. It's a fantastic organisation. Check them out for anyone that suffers with any sort of mental health issues. Great organisation, really worthwhile. Going to put our charity bets for the week up there. Couple of pound on each, hopefully raise a bit of money for charity. The next screen you're going to see will be that. It's not just our 5, but it's also Matt Polly and Chris Connolly, who are meant to be on the show tonight. They'll be up there as well. Have a fantastic festival. Make sure you check us out. We're going to be previewing every single race at picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We'll be putting bits and bobs up there. We might even run a competition. So make sure you keep your eyes out. Thanks again for watching, all your comments, all your support. And as always, good luck if you follow. Thanks from me and the rest of the boys. Have a fantastic festival. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got a few winners.